Oh, Uganda, may God uphold. Oh, Uganda.
Person in charge of fitness. Gentlemen, still in that position where we have a prayer to place this function in the hands of God. May I invite Commissioner Juliet Nzinga to come and lead us in the prayer.
Lord Almighty, we gather here today, the 30th of January 2026, to receive a gift from you, to receive a gift from His Excellency the President, to receive a gift from Mama, Minister of Education and Sports, to receive a gift from the parents in Uganda, to receive a gift from UNEP, the board, the executive director and team, to receive a gift from all the stakeholders that supported the learning process of our children who completed the primary cycle 2025 with the climax of sitting the primary level examination. Lord, we thank you for the gift of those children, for your word in Psalm 127 says that children are gifts from you, Lord Almighty, to those that you love. And as a nation, we thank you for the gift of children. We thank you for the gift of everybody that has supported these particular children in this cohort to go through this process. We gather here with joy, celebration as we end the first month of this year, as we acknowledge all the achievements so far this first month of the year. Lord, we invite you. We invite you to take stage as always, Father, that you guide our chairperson, Mama. You guide the UNEP team. You guide everybody that is here and is to the nation today. That your spirit of calmness will prevail and flow through what we
Guys, I'm begging you, start a survival in the game plan.
We pray for the children that are anxiously waiting for their results. That Lord, you calm them down for your Son Jesus Christ, the comforter. Calm so many similar situations of anxiety. We pray that even after the release today, career path to the next level for your placement. We thank you, Father. We invite you. We glorify you. We feel a good feeling that we are celebrating today. We offer ourselves for your service and we offer this prayer to you, Lord Almighty, with thanksgiving in the name of the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. Amen.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. May we resume our seats. Mama, the Honorable First Lady and Minister of Education and Sports, we are here yet again at your invitation to come and celebrate a national milestone related to the release of exams. Mama, we gather with joy, as has been mentioned in the prayer, and thankfulness that God has enabled us to come this far. Mama, the public out there is very eager and willing to receive these results for which they have waited for some good time. And we are glad that you are here to do that big national function. Mama, as usual, we're always very excited when you invite us here. We thank you for the warm reception. So far, we've been treated so well, and we continue looking forward to enjoying our stay here for this moment. Ladies and gentlemen, We also need to inform Mama that this national event is witnessed by a number of distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, whom I would like to briefly introduce Mama. Mama, at this function, we do have the Honorable Ministers of State for Education, one of whom is none other than our very own Honorable Minister Dr. Joyce Moriku Kabichu, the Minister of State for Primary Education. The other minister is again our very own Minister of State for Sports, Honorable Peter Obang, and we'd like to use this moment to warmly welcome him from Morocco, where he led our national team to do the wonders that they did. Honorable Minister, we also have a number of permanent secretaries, and I would like to quickly mention the permanent secretary, Minister of Education and Sports, Dr. Kedros Tuyagenda, represented here by Dr. Cleophas Mugenyi, and the permanent secretary, Education Service Commission, Haji Asman Mukwago. Honorable Minister, we have a number of members of parliament whom I would like to request to stand, and I'm very confident that we have Honorable James Beketeria. We also do have Honorable Nathan Itungo. We also do have Honorable Dr. Lieutenant Colonel Alanyo Jennifer. I'm very sure we also have Dr. Opolot Jacob Richards. He must be on the way. Oh, okay. Okay, we'll get to know more details about that, Honorable Minister. And we also do have quite a number of dignitaries from different corners of government. Have I finished the list of honorable members of parliament? Oh, yes, we have Honorable Asimwe Moli, and others could be upcoming, maybe, but we'll get the full list later when it appears on my table. Mama, we also do have quite a number of Minister of Education officials, led here by the permanent secretary as we've had. But among those that are very, very visible is the PS himself. Yes, I'm reminded that Honorable Polot Jacob Richard is the Deputy Chairperson of the Education Service Commission. Thank you very much. But it is also true that he's still a honorable, and so I'm sorry for that oversight. I was mentioning, Mama, that we also do have a number of officials from the Ministry of Education and Sports, and as it is clear, we are led here by the PS, Minister of Education and Sports. But may I request all the commissioners from the ministry to stand and wave to Mama. Yes, and we also do have our dear Under Secretary, who is also part of that team. We do have a number of other ministry officials who are standing for recognition now, including myself, Mama. My name is Semakula Henry, a Principal Education Officer from your Department of University Education and Training. Mama, we do have a number of dignified people in different capacities, but definitely we have UNEP, led here by none other than Professor Obua himself. The entire team can now stand also from UNEP and wave to Mama. The Minister of Education. They're already standing up. In case any other is seated, you could stand and join the others. Here, as well as the media team from the Ministry of Education. They're already standing up. In case any other is seated, you could stand and join the others. Mama, we do have officials from the countryside. We have the leader of all the inspectors of Uganda, and this is none other than Madame Ayebaziwe Kellen, the District Inspector of Schools from Barara. I know he's accompanied by other DICs. Do we have the DIS ruler? Oh, DIS ruler is also here, Mr. Olwit Patrick Ogwang. Thank you very much for coming. Mama, we have Senior Superintendent of Police, Kenneth Moheire. He's also in our midst. We also have Brigadier Tumwine Columbus, who represents the military on the board for INEP. We do have Madame Nabagala Susan, who represents the board primary schools. We also do have yes, quite a number of other dignitaries, Mama, but not to forget that the media is here to report right as usual, and we always welcome them. Without further ado, Mama, we also wish to thank you so much for the time and commitment to the campaigns. We saw you by His Excellency's side, moving across the country, protecting the gains together, and requesting us to do the same. We want to use this moment to congratulate you and His Excellency upon the landmark victory. And we pray that the next Chisanja is merry and bright. I don't want to go any further than that, but to now introduce to us the official program of the day. Right about now, we've heard the anthems and sung. We have sung the anthems and had a prayer, and I've done a quick introduction. Maybe to inform all of us here and those people out there that we are live, we have a live transmission, specifically on NBS and UBC, as well as Tayari TV. So it is very important that whatever we do, we are mindful of the fact that we are visible out there. Ladies and gentlemen, the program indicates that after the anthems and prayer and introductions, we'll proceed to have the release statement we'll have opening remarks first coming in from Professor Celestine Obua, the chairperson of UNEB. Then we'll proceed to have the release statement by the Executive Director UNEB, Dr. Dan Nokrachodong. Then we'll move to have the UNEB chair handing over results to the First Lady and Minister of Education and Sports, accompanied by the ED UNEB. After that, we'll get into a formal photo moment. So, ladies and gentlemen, without any further ado, maybe to introduce my sister over here, who is supporting us to reach out to the people with disabilities out there. Her name is Esther Irene Nagudi, and she's an official sign language interpreter for UNEB. Thank you very much. Ladies and gentlemen, Mama, the Honorable Minister of Education, at this moment, allow me invite Professor Celestine Obua to give us the opening remarks at this great function. Thank you.
The First Lady and Honorable Minister of Education and Sports, the Honorable Ministers of State for Education, the Chairperson and members of Parliamentary Committee on Education and Sport, the Permanent Secretary and Minister of Education and Sport, members of the Uganda National Examinations Board present, the Executive Director, Uganda National Examinations Board, senior members of staff of the ministry and that of UNEB, members of the press, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. Mama, I must say I'm very excited, so you will excuse me if I stumble a bit. Truly, I am very excited, Honorable Minister, because we are pleased to present to you the results of the primary living examination for the year 2025 in accordance with the mandate of the board as spelled out under Section 4 of the UNEB Act, Cap 259. The examination was successfully conducted on the 3rd and 4th November 2025. The board approved the use of the same theme as in 2024 because of its continued relevance in driving the board's agenda. Yearly, the examination is conducted during a very rainy month of November. Roads and bridges are damaged, and some parts of the districts get cut off. The board worries every year as to how the examination will be conducted in those parts, given the fact that The PLE examination centers are located and spread out in all villages. By God's grace, it is happened that the 2 days of the examination have been without rain in most parts of the country. Although some areas were affected by rain. Now, Honorable Minister, the board is blessed with some exceptionally dedicated education officials in the districts who have worked with us to find ways of reaching those examination centers whose access have been severely affected by the damaged roads. To them, the board owes a huge debt of gratitude. The weather and the state of the roads during this period have made the cost of the field conduct of the examination to rise appreciably. The board has indicated the need for extra funding in its budget framework paper recently presented to the Education and Sports Committee of Parliament as an underfunded priority. Mama, we appeal for your support for these and other equally important underfunded priorities as Parliament goes through the budget process. Candidature has continued to rise, while absenteeism has held steady at 1.3% in the last 2 years. But as you noted in your statement last year, any dropout is a cause for concern. I hope that the Permanent Secretary and her team have been able to find out some of these causes as promised last year. Performance at grade 1 pass level has improved over the 2024 examination. Overall, more candidates have qualified to proceed to join the next level or cycle of education than in 2024. I have no doubt that with the efforts government has put towards expansion of access to post-primary education, all nearly 730,000 learners, graded or passed, will find places in secondary and vocational schools. For the second year, the board has carried out an item analysis of the 4 examination papers offered at this level to establish the proficiency levels attained by our learners in this examination. This resonates well with the country's paradigm shift to competency-based education and assessment. This analysis will be done and reported annually. From this analysis, the board has formed the opinion that teachers need a lot of support in capacity building to enable them to interpret the curriculum and adapt their teaching approaches. For the last 2 years, the board has identified 2 local governments with the lowest level of achievement as seen from these results and offered some capacity building support to selected teachers. With availability of funds, this intervention, small as it appears, will be maintained as a contribution to what other interventions the ministry will make through its other agencies. The analysis has also been carried out in more detail to show subject by subject pass level at different grades of distinction, credits, etc., with graphs to show more clearly the proportions showing and passing at each grade level and a comparison by gender. Honorable Minister, in the matter of the examination malpractice, the board has witnessed an increased level of desperation on the part of school directors and their head teachers. When examination distributors deliver the question papers, envelopes to the center, the head teacher, working with already corrupted and compromised scouts, cut open the envelopes and access paper for the purpose of assisting the candidates before or during the examination. Evidence gathered indicate that some district education officials are becoming complicit in this. During its investigations, the board's security team discovered the epicenter as being a private school in Kasanda district. The district inspector of schools, the school director, head teacher, invigilators who were appointed from Nansana, which is near Kampala, and scouts were arrested. The arrest led security to other collaborating schools which had received exam material through WhatsApp groups created for the purpose. So far, 8 persons have been convicted and sentenced by court. Other suspects are out on bail, while 5 are remanded. Our security team is hunting down some others who are currently on the run. The board, with the support of security agencies, is determined to track down those persons and bring them to book. Their diabolical actions pose a serious threat to our education system. We hope that the courts will pass deterrent sentences in accordance with the provisions in the UNEP Act. Mama, the desperation arises from the desire for their schools to get many candidates passing with aggregate 4. This apparently is the gold standard by which parents rank schools. You will recall, Mama, that in 2021, the board presented to you a proposal to change the reporting of the results of PLE to get rid of the aggregates. You supported this proposal, but observed correctly that COVID-19 ravaging the country then, it was not a good time to adopt and implement the proposal. Mama, I now pray that you allow the board to reintroduce this proposal for possible approval and implementation. Permit me, Mama, to extend through you our hearty congratulations to His Excellency the President Yoweri Museveni for his resounding victory in the just concluded general elections. The people of Uganda have given him a clear mandate and trust to lead them for the next 5 years. We pray to the Almighty to give him good health and continued wisdom in this enormous task. Every indicator shows that great times and more gains are ahead of us as we've just been protecting our gains. There is a saying that behind every successful man, there is a great woman. Mama, this couldn't be more true in your case. I expected, especially from the ladies. We watch you traverse the country, standing side by side with the president in pouring rain, in hot sun, walking through mud as he addressed rallies across the country. Besides addressing your own rallies, meeting women groups, and Mama, I would like to state here that it was you who was calling for people to vote for His Excellency. I think he will sometimes forget to say that himself. And we really thank God for you and pray that He blesses you abundantly as you continue to support His Excellency the President, as well as lead us in the education sector. I also thank you for supporting and guiding us over the last year. Thank you, Mama, for promptly appointing members of the 12th board for UNEP amidst your very busy schedule during the campaigns. I pray that you may find some space in your very busy calendar to swear them in on the 9th of February 2026 when they officially take office. I appreciate the Education and Sports Committee of Parliament and the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development for the appropriation and very timely release of funds to UNEP. I am grateful to our security agencies and the field officers at various levels for their support in the conduct of the examination. To our teachers who took time off to mark the candidates' work, and the institutions that hosted the marking exercise, I say thank you very much. And on behalf of the board, and may God give you more blessings. I congratulate the candidates who passed the examination at various grades. I also thank the teachers who prepared them and the parents and guardians who provided support they needed. For those who did not pass or get the grades they expected, we think there are many opportunities to remedy your expectations. Mama, now you allow me to call the Executive Director to present the statement of release of results for 2025 primary living examinations, and I thank you for listening to me.
And Mama, as the Executive Director comes in, would like to associate with all the success that the professor has mentioned. We want to thank you so much for the resilience, and we also want to thank you as a sector for always keeping us shining in all corners of this country. Mama, we at the same time want to thank UNEP for the job well done. I know they have always been equal to the task. I beg for indulgence. When I was introducing dignitaries, I actually forgot to introduce Dr. Dan Nokraj, the Executive Director of UNEP. Allow me to now mention that he's indeed here and is going to address us. But at the same time, we can clap for that. At the same time, I also forgot to mention the presence of the Executive Director of UHAPAB. I don't know how the pronunciation is made these days, but it is UHPAB. This is the board that manages the nurses and all that. Thank you very much for coming. Ma'am, I also did forget Madam Bernadette Nambi, the ED National Curriculum Development Center. She's also with us. And I also did forget the person from DES, UVTAB, Kate Kisa Semakula. Thank you so much, and thank you for pardoning me over that. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, I'll invite, he has already been invited, the Executive Director to come and give the statement of results. Thank you.
Mama, I expected an applause from these people to usher me on to the second. Thank you, Mama. Mama, you'd allow me to ride on the protocol established by my chair. I'll address you and the other dignitaries will be exactly like my chair has mentioned. Mama, Honorable Minister of Education and Sports, we are pleased to present to you the results of the 2025 primary living examinations which, as you heard, was conducted on the 3rd and 4th of November 2025 under the theme Embracing Security and Holistic Assessment of Learners in a Dynamic Environment. The same theme as was used in 2024. The issues that informed the development of that theme in 2024 are still relevant to the examination process of 2025. Mama, we thank God that despite the bad weather and damaged roads referred to by the chair in parts of the country, heroic efforts by the local governments, the district inspectors of schools, two of whom are represented here, and our monitors that we posted, these work together to ensure that the conduct in those areas was successfully completed. Mama, permit me to report on the registration of candidates for the year 2025 PLE. Total candidature, a total of 817,883 candidates from 15,388 examination centers registered for PLE in 2025 compared to 797,444 in 2024. Of this number, Mama, 522,036 or 63.8% from 11,525 centers were Universal Primary Education UPE beneficiaries, and the other 295,847 or 36.2% of the candidates from 3,863 centers were the non-UPE. The overwhelming majority of the candidates who took the PLE Mama were the beneficiaries of the UPE program. Table 1 in my statement gives a detail of the candidature and the centers for the last 5 years. And as you can see, Mama, from 2020, we have been rising progressively, except after 2022, where the entries were abnormal, as the impact of the COVID-19, we had a lot of candidates who had stayed behind, and those shot up the number to 832,654. Thereafter, Mama, we came back to the normal rate of increases that we have had, and we've been having these increases going up every year. And Mama, that table indicates that candidature increased by 20,439 or 2.6% over the previous year. When we analyze this 2025 figures by gender, it shows that 389,469 or 47.6% of these were boys who were registered, compared to 428,324 or 52.4% were girls. And Mama, this is indicating that more girls than boys completed the primary education cycle. Mama, this has been the trend in the recent years. Last year in 2024 examination, we reported that the percentage was 52.5 for the girls and 47.5 for the boys, more or less the same as this year, a difference of 0.1% lower than last year. Mama also report on the registration of special groups, the first being our special needs education children, the board registered 3,636 learners with special needs of various categories, including the blind, the deaf, the physically handicapped, and the dyslexics. And this compares to 3,328 who were registered in 2024. This is an increase of 308 or 9.3% candidates. The number of SNE or special needs education candidates, MAMA, is also continuing to rise annually, as I reported last year. Last year's numbers were also higher than the previous year. Due to the awareness, MAMA, this increase is due to the awareness that has been created in the schools by the Uganda National Examinations Board and the very active Department of Special Needs Education in the Ministry of Education and Sports. In this group, candidates who are female constitute 48.3%, while 51.7% are males. The other special group, MAMA, are the inmates, our citizens who are away from the public, serving sentence in prison. The board also has examination centers for these, and this year the board registered 61 candidates from Uganda Government Prison, Upper Prison Luzira, of whom 54 were males and 7 were females, and 40 from Barara Main Prison, consisting of 39 males and 1 female. MAMA is gratifying to note that most of the criminals are men and not women. MAMA, allow me now to report on the overall numbers of candidates who registered and those who sat the examination. This is given in table 2 below. The details who registered for the examination and those who sat and those who did not show up for the exam. And we are doing this also for the last 5 years. MAMA, you will observe that absenteeism in terms of percentage has been 1.3. The previous year was also 1.3 as reported in the chairperson's speech. The table shows that the percentage of absentee candidates remained the same as that of 2024, but we can see that those percentages are lower than in previous years, meaning, MAMA, that more of our children who enter school, register for the examination, stay on to do the examination. MAMA, now I report on performance of the candidates. Item response analysis of the 2025 PLE candidates. MAMA, an item response analysis was done on the scores of the candidates in each of the 4 subjects. And table 3 in the statement shows overall results or percentages of candidates that exhibited high ability levels, medium ability levels, and lower ability levels in the mastery of the subject knowledge and skills at this level. The table indicates that for higher ability level, in mathematics, 16.4% of the children who sat were in this category. That in English, they were higher at 18.5. Integrated science was 15.6, and social studies with religious education 15.9. The medium ability level figures are also indicated, as well as the lower ability levels. We can see that the majority of our candidates, about 2/3, are at the medium ability level. MAMA, this, if somebody plotted a curve, this would be a normal distribution curve. Now, these high ability candidates, what do we mean when we say someone is a high ability candidate? These are candidates who can remember or recall facts. They show an understanding of these facts and are able to apply the facts or concepts that they have learned in problem solving or even in new situations. Whereas the medium ability level candidates can also remember or recall facts, they show an understanding of the facts and they can apply some of the facts and concepts in a problem-solving situation. However, this group have some difficulty in applying the facts in new situations. The problem is application. The lower ability level candidates remember or recall facts. They show some limited understanding of the facts, and they have difficulties in comprehension or understanding and application of the facts that they have learned. And these mama show in the scripts that they have written. So the table shows us, I've already said that like in 2024, slightly lower than 20% of our candidates exhibited higher levels. English has the highest percentage of candidates at 18.5, demonstrating high ability levels, followed by mathematics, social studies with religious education. 2/3 of our candidates exhibited the medium level in all the 4 subjects, whereas the percentage of our candidates who exhibited lower ability levels was also about the same as that of last year in all the 4 subjects at 16%. Mama, I report the overall performance by grades, that is distinction, credit, and pass levels. The performance of candidates in the 4 subjects is compared over the 2-year period of 2025 and 2024 in the table below. The performance is indicated at distinction 2 and above, credit 6 and above, and pass 8 levels. So when we see English, those getting distinctions 2 and 1 are 10.1%. And if you compare this to 2024, that figure was only 4.9%. At credit, we have 67.6%, and that figure was 58.0%. And at grade 8, those who have got at least grade 8 and above up to D1. That means the overall pass level, Mama stands at 91.9% compared to 88.3%. This indicates that English was better performed than all the other 3 subjects, and also compared to last year, we had an improvement in the performance of English. The reverse is true, Mama, for social studies, where at distinction 2 and above, we only have 3.3%. That figure compares very unfavorably with 7.9% in the previous year. At credit 6 and above, cumulatively, we have 62.7%, and compared to 75.6. And at 8 and above, we have 86.7 compared to 91.9. So social studies was not as well performed as last year. There are reasons that we shall give. Science and mathematics remain more or less comparable. There is not a lot of difference, although we can also note that at the distinction level, we have a better performance at 9.6% compared to 7.4% in the previous year. So in summary, the table shows that overall at grade 8 and above, our candidates performed best in English, followed by integrated science, mathematics, and finally social studies with religious education was done. Compared to 2024, as I've already said, English showed an improvement while SST showed a significant decline in performance. Mama, I have provided some detail trying to show, we are showing subject by subject, so we have detailed percentage subject performance by grades and gender. We have provided some figures. Figure 1 is performance of males and females in English. We are showing now the percentage at distinction 1, distinction 2, up to F9. And then we can see the column for the males and the females, and then the totals when we put the two together. And then the graph, you'll see that here the female candidates, as we have already seen, perform better than the males in English language. And they come together at about credit 6. But right from distinction 1 up to credit 6, the graph for the females is higher than that of the males. So this figure is indicating that the girls perform better in English, and Mama, this appears to be the natural trend that in every examination that we have reported on, even at other levels, the performance of females in English has been better. Perhaps somebody needs to do a PhD to find out why this trend is obtaining, not only in this country, but Mama, we have seen it elsewhere. Then in integrated science, this is where the males wake up from their sleep in English. Then they try to show the better performance. You can see at the different, the columns, the males are D1, they are now 1.22 compared to 0.96 for the females. And this goes on. But unfortunately, as you go lower, then the reverse begins to happen, meaning that more of the females are scoring the lower grades. This is also shown very clearly in the graph, where the graph for the males is higher up to about credit 6 level. Then they tie up towards credit 6, and now the graph for the females gets higher, meaning that the boys have performed better. We are saying slightly better. We are told by the statistician that sometimes the differences are not statistically significant, but they are there. Then with the social studies and religious education, again, the males have performed slightly better until credit 6, where they tie up, and then the female curve tends to be a bit higher, showing more of the girls getting the lower grades. Mathematics is perhaps where the difference in performance is quite significant. The gaps between the two curves, male and female, are quite visible from distinction 1 up to distinction, or rather credit 5. Again, the two candidate genders tie up around credit 6. And then thereafter, the females come down. Rather, the females go up, meaning that more of them are in the lower grades. So here, performance of the girls up to credit, the boys up to credit 4, and then there are fewer boys in the lower grades of 7 and 8, and the fail grades. Mama, figure 5 is now showing, when we have put all this together, the frequency distribution for PLE 2025 total aggregates. These curves are now showing the percentages of candidates that are passing this examination with the aggregate 4 that the chair talked about, 5 up to 36, which is the lowest, that is a fail, you'll see that the males and females, the males are a little better up to some level, and then we can see now the females, their curves come down, meaning more of them are in the upper distinctions. This curve is indicating that most of our candidates are passing between aggregate 11 and 30. The pass levels with the mode, most of the candidates, the model, if you plot the mode of that graph, it's at about 22. That is where you have the highest number of candidates. Aggregate 4 this year is extremely low, occasioned mainly by the performance in social studies. Mama, we have also compared the overall performance by division. In table 5 shows that the overall performance of candidates by divisional grades in 2025, and we are comparing with performance in 2024. The first column shows the number of candidates that have passed in Division 1. As the chairperson said, we have more candidates this year passing with first grade. That is 91,990 or 11.39%, compared to 84,301 or 10.7%. So we have more of our candidates who have obtained Division 1 or Grade 1. However, if you go down, you find the percentages are a little bit lower, but fairly comparable. What is important, Mama, is that as we've seen in Table 5, more of our candidates have passed in Division 1 in 2025 than 2024, an increase. Mama, this is an increase of 7,689 in terms of numbers. And we also have more overall this was the increase. The first one is the increase in Division 1 passes. But overall, although we are seeing that in terms of percentages, 2024 seems to be better, but what is very important is the real numbers. We have 7,503 who have passed PLE compared to 2024. And we have presented this just for comparison in those bar graphs. Then 4.6, we have also shown the overall performance by gender. In Table 6, we are showing that at Division 1, 12.54% are males, while 10.35% are females. Similarly, at Division 2, 48.54% are males and 47.69% are females. Then at the Division 3 and Division 4, the percentages of the females tend to be a little higher, although fairly comparable, Mama. So it's just showing that the males have performed slightly better, and they also have slightly lower failure rate. And in that, we have also shown the bar graphs. If you see the bar graphs, the heights of these graphs are very close, except for Division 1. That means Division 2, 3, 4, the performance is quite comparable. Ma'am, allow me also to report performance of special candidate groups. I start with the prisons inmates. At the Uganda Upper Prison School in Luzira, as I reported, 61 candidates were registered compared to 71 in the previous year. And of those 61 candidates who registered, 58 candidates sat. 4 of them obtained Division 1, 27 obtained Division 2, and 13 obtained Division 3, and 5 obtained Division 4, and only 9 were ungraded. Mama, in the past, we used to clap for this special group because they study under abnormal conditions, but they are still doing extremely well, as you can see. 3 did not sit the examination. We assume that they were released from prison before the examination time. At Mbarara Main Prison Inmates Primary School, Mama, we had 40 candidates who registered. 39 of them sat, while 1 could have been released before, was absent. Of those, 7 obtained Division 1, 15 are in Division 2, 10 are in Division 3, 5 in Division 4, and only 2 were ungraded. Then, Mama, we also have our special needs candidates. The table is a bit crowded. We have disaggregated them by the categories of blind, the low vision, the deaf, the physically handicapped, and dyslexics, and then the ones that we have categorized as others. We've also disaggregated by gender, but in all, we note that of the 3,636 candidates who were registered, 194 of them passed in Division 1, 1,761 passed in Division 2, 779 were in Division 3, while 436 were in Division 4, and 431 were ungraded. 35 of these children registered but did not take the examination. Ma'am, allow me to briefly comment on the work of the candidates as seen from the scripts. Examiners and curriculum specialists have appreciated the quality of the papers that were administered by UNEB. The papers have recognized the paradigm shift to competency-based learning, and the questions in these papers reflected this shift. Teachers, especially of social studies and religious education, appear not to be adjusting their teaching methods in this direction. And so we find that candidates had difficulties in answering questions that required them to apply their knowledge in SST, particularly on issues that affect their community and issues that affect their country. The SST emphasizes more where the children live and the issues that affect their country. And we find, unfortunately, this is not coming through in the answers that the children are giving. And this partly explains, I think, the drop in the performance. Examiners have also pointed out the very negative impact of papers developed and circulated to schools by certain so-called examination bureaus just before the examination. These bureaus make their papers to mimic the way UNEB exam papers look like, including the instructions given, the layout of the rubric page, and they sell this to schools, making schools believe that these and others that they sell are what UNEB is likely going to examine. And Mama, these papers are bought, and the examiners are telling us that they are observing that they are having a negative impact. Because, Mama, they have now discouraged the teachers from setting papers or setting tests using the knowledge that they have. They now depend mainly on buying these items. Mama, in the tables that we have picked out some areas, learning areas in the different subjects where candidates were showing difficulties. They are shown there in mathematics, in English, in integrated science, and also in social studies with religious education. Mama, on top of this, there are other issues where the board will produce detailed reports, and these will be shared to schools with advice to teachers how they can handle some of these concepts which children are showing difficulties in. We only hope that when we share these documents, they will be used. Mama, allow me to say something brief on examination malpractice, just on top of what the chairperson has already said, that the board has succeeded in delivering question papers safely to all examination sitting centers, thanks to the collaborative efforts and support of the district, the chief administrative officers, and the district officials, that is the district inspectors of schools and the district education officers. Chair, in appreciation of this particular release, that's the reason why we have two representatives of the district inspectors of schools, the chairperson of the forum, who is the district inspector of schools, Mbarara, and their general secretary, who is the district inspector of schools for Lira. Mama, if you recall the video clip I showed while we were briefing you, the man who was speaking in that video is this gentleman, the district inspector of schools of Lira, whom you saw literally sailing his car across a flooded section of road. He wasn't driving anymore, he was just sailing the car because I thought it was going to sink. Apart from this, we also have the other local governments and the police. Examination malpractice, Mama, has now taken a brazen form where scouts and invigilators are bribed or threatened with physical harm if they do not cooperate by the school directors and head teachers to allow teachers to assist candidates directly in the examination room. Mama, you will also recall a picture we showed when we were briefing you of one teacher who was caught in the act of conducting a lesson during the examination. Honorable Minister, as you've heard from the chair, this is sad, particularly as that some of our would-be partners in the district education offices are becoming complicit in this and other professional acts. We shall have very detailed discussions with these partners of ours to see how sanity can be restored and we go back to conducting examinations as we have known them to happen. I'm grateful, Mama, to our dedicated security team that has worked so hard on these cases of examination malpractice. As the chair reported, a number of arrests have been made, and we are glad that as I speak now, some of them are already serving jail because they have been convicted and sentenced. Others are on remand waiting for appearance in court in various parts of this country. In accordance with Section 5, subsection 2B of the UNEP Act, Cap 259, the board will withhold the results of these affected candidates pending completion of our investigations. And where there will be a prima facie case, the board's tribunal, the Examination Security Committee, will accord all the affected candidates a fair hearing before making the final decisions, which decisions, Mama, may unfortunately culminate in the cancellation of some of these results. As we analyzed the cases, the districts where these cases are coming from, we have noticed that the districts of Kisoro, I'm very surprised because Kisoro has been a very safe district in terms of exam malpractice. We don't know what happened, but a number of many cases have come from there. Kampala, Mukono, Namutumba, Kasanda, where the district inspector of schools himself was arrested, Buyende, and Kaliro, among others, have contributed to the biggest number of candidates whose results will be withheld. Ma'am, I want to salute the leadership of Chenjojo, Kabarole, and Bundibujo districts, from where most of the cases were emanating. Mama, you remember previously, about 3 years ago and back, each time we were here, you'd know that the majority of cases were from Kabarole, Chenjojo, Bundibujo, and sometimes Kasese and Chegegwa, the Rwenzori region. I think that a great change of heart appears to have taken place. And also, particularly in the case of Chenjojo, Mama, I want to report that when the results of the 2024 primary living exams were released, the chief administrative officer of this district took very, very stern measures on the head teachers of schools that perpetuated this vice. Although they went to court and threatened him, he stood firm with his local council 5 chair, whom they also threatened not to vote because of that. But that was one of the results I was very, very keenly watching out for, and I was glad to know that the chair was re-elected, despite the campaigns that had been waged against him by the group of teachers, thinking that they would influence the election. So these two persons, leaders, took very stern action, and this year we don't have a single case that has been reported from this district. And I want to thank Mama that if the other leaders in other districts took similar measures on these cases, this issue of examination malpractice would be a thing of the past very, very quickly. Mama, allow me to express our gratitude. First of all, I must give thanks and praise to the Almighty God for His blessings upon us. Mama, we dedicated each stage of the examinations process to God Himself in prayer, and I believe that He answered us each time. And I think, Mama, that is why we are here today, because of His blessings. To Him be the glory, I pray. Mama, the examination period found you already very busy supporting His Excellency the President as he traversed the country, delivering messages of hope and prosperity to our people during the presidential election campaigns, as my chair has already said. But we knew that wherever you are, that despite your very hectic schedules, you found time to pray for the successful conclusion of the examination process. That, Mama, has come to pass. The exercise was successful, and we are here to give you the proceeds of that success. And I join my chairperson in expressing our profound gratitude to you, Mama. I'm grateful to the board under the very stable, rather to the very able leadership or stewardship of the chairperson, Professor Celestino Obua, and his board for providing good governance and creating the environment that allowed management to perform its role efficiently and effectively. I want to thank the Chief of Defense Forces, the Inspector General of Police, and heads of other security agencies that gave us the security, the cover that we needed for a smooth conduct of the examination. Chair, we have invited two officers from the Army and the police. They have been introduced to you, but in my own way, also I like them to step forward again in the open and greet you with the kind of salute that they only know. Their names were read. Brigadier General Christopher Columbus. He's not the one who invented, who discovered America. It was somebody else. I am grateful, Mama, to the Chief Administrative Officers, District and Urban Education officials who worked very closely with us to ensure that counterpart funding, logistics, and personnel were mobilized for the examination process. Mama, I want to report that there are still some local governments that do not budget for the conduct of the PLE administration and depend solely on the contribution from UNEB. Mama, in such districts, the shortage of funds severely constrains the proper conduct of the examination. And I pray that at this time, when the budgeting process is ongoing, they remember to allocate some resources for this cause. I salute the media for the close working relationship that we have enjoyed. The media houses have ensured that our programs were publicized widely. Mama, these are not the ones who reported last week that UNEB servers had crashed and therefore there would be no PLE. These are not the ones. Neither are the ones who reported 2 weeks ago that the UNEB building that you commissioned in 2023 had been set on fire by unknown persons. These are not the ones. But if some of them are here, we expect responsible use of social media, not to disinform the public. Mama, in a very special way, I pay tribute to the staff of UNEB, those invisible and unsung heroes Sorry, I was interrupted by a piece of paper here. Those unsung heroes, Mama, who do everything tirelessly to ensure that the board's mandate is fulfilled. Mama, they spare no efforts in the service of their country. They were introduced, but I want them to stand again and wave to you. The invitation to stand was not done by me. This time I'm doing it myself. Thank you very much, my dear colleagues. I thank the examiners who worked so hard to complete the marking in good time, despite the very busy campaigns that were going on at the time. We had time to concentrate and mark. And then I also thank the institutions that offered their premises for us to mark from. I wish to appreciate the efforts of the parents and guardians in supporting their children through the cycle of primary, culminating in the sitting for this examination. I also congratulate the candidates who have passed the examination and comfort those who have not passed and those who have not obtained the pass level that they expect. Mama, when eventually you declare the results released, we are going to have a number of parents coming over and telling us, my daughter, my son was an aggregate 4 material. She's crying, he's crying, they are not eating because they have got 5 instead of 4. So sometimes, since they were not doing UNEV exams to get those 4s that they thought they would get, these results may not be exactly what they may have expected. We ask that they accept. But those that have not passed, Mama, you have encouraged them to repeat. And I think at some fora you said if they go back to school, government is still willing to support them under the UPE program. Mama, the board greatly appreciates the support Parliament, particularly the Education and Sports Committee of Parliament, in appropriating the funds to facilitate the board's work. And of course, the Ministry of Finance, Planning and Economic Development for the timely release of these funds. Ma'am, allow me to say something about how these results will be collected. Results for each examination center will be uploaded on the center portals, Mama, as soon as you officially release them. However, district, municipal, and city inspectors of schools may wish to collect the hard copies, and these hard copies will be available from UNEV offices in Ntinda from Monday, the 2nd of February, 2026. Please, DISs, do not go there this afternoon. We will not be there to serve you. Parents, candidates, and other interested parties may use the short messaging service, SMS, on MTN and Airtel mobile networks. Results of the candidates will be posted on their mobile sets instantly if the correct procedure is followed. We advise as follows: that on your phone, go to the messages menu, then you type PLE, you leave space, and type the full index number of the candidate. And then you send to 6600. If you do this correctly, you should be able to get the results almost instantly. But I like to say, usually the moment Mama releases the results, all mobile phones in the country will be typing PLE and trying to get the results. So the networks may be a little busy, and so it might take you a few more seconds to get the results, but they will be there. I urge the heads of centers to study the result lists and submit any queries on, for example, spelling of names or the date of birth, if they feel that there are errors on this, to UNEB within 2 weeks from the date of release. I conclude, Mama, by praying that God blesses His Excellency the President in the new term that he will soon start. Mama, I also pray God to bless you as you continue, hopefully, to steer the Ministry of Education and Sports. I'm praying for that. May God bless UNEB, bless our parliament, and bless our motherland, Uganda. Mama, thank you very much for listening to me. I submit my report. Mama, we have provided some statistics that are showing in districts, and unfortunately we did not combine the municipalities together with the districts because These are also different local governments. So we have shown the districts and municipalities separately. Those that have become city, please forgive us if we still refer to you as municipal, MC, meaning municipal council. You are a city council, you know it. So we have shown Division 1, 2, 3, Division 4, and Division U. Mama, what is really of concern to us are the percentages of Division U shown in the second last, the column under Division U, and the percentages. There are districts that are posting extremely high percentages, almost a quarter of the candidates are passing, are failing. 24.5, for example, on page 1, you see, I think that is Bundibujo. And there are other districts that are posting equally very, very high percentage levels. But I'm also glad to note, Mama, that there are districts that have been posting very high failure rates. One district is Quen. Quen used to be 37%, but now that failure rate has come down to below 20. So I think something good is happening there, and something like this can also be replicated in other districts to reduce the number of candidates who are ungraded. Then also of concern, as you have often said, Mama, is Division X. These are the children who registered but did not show up for the examination for various reasons. We hope some of these reasons can be mitigated so that as many of our children who register for examination are able to appear and sit the examination. I thank you very much, Ma'am. Mama, the chief that was brought here is to give, that we give a few minutes to arrange for the handover of results. Usually at this point in time, my chair would hand over the results to you, but I think there is some delay. We will have to get time to speak to the neighbors that we are sitting next to while it comes. Thank you very much, Mama. I exit the podium now with another round of applause.
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, what the Executive Director has said is right. We've been guided to have a humble break just to catch up a bit with colleagues in those few minutes as we prepare for the official handover of the results to Mama. And so at this moment, you can catch up with your old-time friend and plan for 2026. Or make new friends. Yes, and the medical people here, including Hajati Safina Musene, tell us that we don't need to oversit. So you may want to stand up a bit and let the blood flow. You can let the blood flow. In the meantime, we can also continue to reflect on a few comments made so far. One that touched me is about prisons having more men. I think we need to pray more for the men. But at the same time, yes, thank you. At the same time, I know that men can still perform good things. Like indeed, the results show that boys are also excelling academically. They can as well excel in terms of discipline and morals. Please look for that old-time friend. You may also find out if your colleague has received new appointments. We are also assured that more channels are being direct transmission. I mentioned earlier that we have UBC. I also mentioned NBS, but I'm also confident that Tayari TV and Bukede are also transmitting live and clear.
So our people are really out there, eagerly waiting to receive the results. You could also update your colleagues on whether you are retiring very soon or you are changing position to another organization. All that can be very helpful. I also want to catch up with my longtime brother here. You always get the instruction from me about his smart. You are going to this thing to you miss him at the academy. It was the same thing. We are now heading into pressure. When these results come now, everybody was just called you for 1,000 years. Now they call it. Hello. Yes, more assurance is coming in that we have more media houses directly transmitting. Baba TV, we thank you. NBS, we thank you too. UBC, we thank you. Tayari TV, thank you for the tireless work. And I know others will come and mention to me if that is really happening. UNEB media team is also busy transmitting and they're live on YouTube, as well as Salt Media. Salt Media, thank you so much. I know that you are giving good salt to the world. I want to imagine that the rest of us as individuals have not transmitted yet because we are waiting for Mama to do the official release to the nation. Otherwise, for now, what we know is preliminary information. UNEB social media platform on YouTube, thank you very much. And I know you have so many people logging in now. You could also exchange Christmas gifts in case you forgot to reach out to your friend. And I think in only 1 minute, I am declaring the health break done. Ladies and gentlemen, the health break is done. May we slowly return to our seats. Ladies and gentlemen, I know that you are really catching up with very serious issues of national development and national importance, but we shall continue from there. Let's briefly get back to our seats and settle in to receive the remarks from the Honorable Minister of State for Primary. Before that, yes, we are honestly now getting into the official moment of handover of the results to Mama, and I want to request the UNEB Chair to be joined by the ministers present, and the Permanent Secretary. Kindly join in at that moment. And the cameramen, please take the best shot around that time. That is what the nation is eagerly waiting to see. UNEB media, make sure you don't block the way. But I know that the media team is always mindful of the best pose and best position. Oh yes, I can see the pose almost taking shape. And this is one of the big moments the nation has been waiting to see. Ladies and gentlemen, join me to clap as the Honorable Minister of Education and Sports and First Lady of this country officially receives the PLE results of the primary living examinations of the year 2025. We congratulate UNEB upon that very big success. We congratulate UNEB for acting according to the roadmap. We are looking forward to all other releases being on time. Thank you very much, Mama, for all the guidance you offer UNEB to ensure that we receive the results as expected. Thank you, those who have represented us in the photo moment. I know that our pictures have also been taken from wherever we are. Ladies and gentlemen, at this moment, allow me invite Honorable Dr. Joyce Mauriku Kabichu to make her remarks and invite Mama to address the nation.
Mama, the First Lady of the Republic of Uganda, and the Minister of Education and Sports, my colleague, the Honorable Minister of State for Education and Sports, colleague, Honorable Members of Parliament, with respect to the Chairperson of the Committee of Education and Sports. Mama, permit me to respect protocol, and I do respect all the dignitaries in their respective capacities. Mama, I take this opportunity to sincerely thank you for giving your valuable time to preside over the release of this PLE results 2025. Your presence here today shows the importance you attach to basic education as the cornerstone of our country's future. I therefore congratulate you, Mama. I congratulate all the candidates, parents, and all stakeholders upon these national milestones we are celebrating today. On behalf of the Ministry of Education and Sports Fraternity and all the stakeholders, I take this singular honor, Mama, to pay a special tribute to and salute His Excellency General Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, the President of the Republic of Uganda and President-elect, who championed universal primary education. Thank you. Let's put our hands together and clap more. Thank you. Our president who championed universal primary education and for preaching the message of free education for all our children. The commitment of the president to universal primary education has transformed our education system from a privilege for a few children into a right for all our children. Promotion of UPE across the country, Mama, sent a clear and powerful message that every child matters and every child deserves a chance to learn. The massive enrollment of UPE that we witness today, and the 63.8% of UPE candidates whose PLE results is being released today, stand as a living testimony to the vision of our president. Mama, I also wish to note that to date, the literacy level in Uganda has significantly improved from 43% to 76%. Thank you. This increment is very critical for Uganda as a country as we look forward to transform our economy to modernity. Mama, convey a sincere appreciation to Mosei for his steadfast support that has enabled our team at the Ministry of Education and Sports to implement critical reforms in the education sector. May God continue to bless our president, to bless his visionary leadership, and to give him a health in mind and body. As we release the result of over 800,000 candidates today, I take this moment to register our heartfelt appreciation to you, Mama Janet, the First Lady and the Minister of Education and Sports, for your steadfast leadership